Imagine waking up to the sound of thunder, but it isn't the sky, it's the sound of the world's largest cannon tearing through the walls of your city. Behind those walls lives an emperor ready to die, nobles plotting in secret, and enemies dragging ships across land to seal your fate. This isn't just a battle. It's the end of an empire that was not only just a part of the world, but the one that had controlled it for years. Talk about the fall of the last survivor of the Roman Empire. They called it the Queen of Cities, Constantinople, a jewel of wealth and splendor where East met West. Its streets were alive with merchants from every corner of the known world, its churches crowned with golden domes that glittered like the heavens themselves. But Constantinople was more than a city. It was the last proud survivor of the Roman Empire. For 1,000 years after Rome had fallen to dust, here the emperors still reigned, their banners flying high above impregnable walls. The Theodosian walls, triple layers of stone rising like mountains, stretching for miles. A harbor protected by the mighty chain across the Golden Horn. An empire's capital that had defied Persians, Arabs, Rus, and Crusaders alike. To the world, it seemed unconquerable, a city guarded not just by soldiers and fortresses, but by the very hand of God, or so its people believed. And yet, beneath the mosaics and marble, the cracks had already begun to show. Wealth that once overflowed was waning. Allies had turned to rivals, and an ancient empire stood like a shadow of its former glory. And so, across the horizon, hungry eyes began to watch and wait. In 1451, the world underestimated him. Mehmed II was just 21, young, untested, the son of a dynasty known for war, but not yet for glory. Many thought the throne would break him, but Mehmed was not like other rulers. Behind his sharp eyes was an ambition that burned hotter than fire. To him, Constantinople was not simply a city, it was destiny, the crown jewel between two worlds, the key that would transform his Ottoman realm into an empire of empires. And he would not rest until its walls that had stood for 1,000 years, came crashing down at his feet. But how do you strike down a city that all others had failed to conquer? Mehmed had an answer, with power the world had never seen. He summoned a Hungarian engineer named Orban, a man who dreamed of building a cannon so colossal, so fearsome, that it could split mountains. For a fortune in gold, Orban agreed, and what he created was monstrous. A bronze beast over 8 meters long, firing stone balls weighing more than half a ton. Each shot thundered like an earthquake, shaking the earth itself. To the Byzantines, it was as though a dragon had been unleashed. Mehmed was no ordinary conqueror. He was a strategist, a visionary, and ruthless enough to risk everything. With his armies gathering and his great cannon forged, the stage was set. The Queen of Cities was about to face a storm unlike any in its long and glorious history. As Mehmed's armies tightened the noose around Constantinople, the city's greatest threat was not only outside its walls, but within them. Emperor Constantine XI stood firm, determined to fight to the last breath. But many of his nobles did not share his resolve. Old rivalries, jealousies, and fears poisoned the unity of the defenders. Some whispered that resistance was pointless, that the city was doomed. Others cared less for honor and more for preserving their fortunes. Merchants, the lifeblood of Constantinople, saw opportunity even in disaster. Some struck secret bargains with the Ottomans, hoping to secure their wealth and safety when the walls inevitably fell. Instead of one united people standing against the storm, Constantine faced division, betrayal, and despair. And so, while the cannons thundered outside, inside the Queen of Cities, the cracks grew wider. Neighbors distrusted neighbors. Soldiers questioned their leaders. And in the darkest corners of the city, there were those who whispered that the fall of Constantinople might not be a tragedy, but a chance to rid themselves of rivals forever. In its final hour, the last Roman Empire was not only fighting the Ottomans, it was fighting itself. And then the storm began. Day after day, the great cannon roared. Its thunder shook the very earth, hurling stones the size of boulders against the walls. Towers crumbled, houses collapsed, and the once proud defenses of Constantinople trembled under every strike. The people prayed inside their churches, their voices rising to the heavens, but prayers could not silence hunger or fear. By night, the city never knew rest. Ottoman soldiers launched sudden assaults, scaling ladders under the cover of darkness, only to be beaten back with fire and steel. The defenders fought bravely, but every sunrise brought fresh scars to their walls and deeper despair to their hearts. Still, one hope remained. The Golden Horn, guarded by the great iron chain stretched across the water, it kept the Ottoman fleet at bay. As long as the chain held, the sea was safe, or so the Byzantines believed. But Mehmed was not a man to be stopped by chains. In a feat that stunned the world, he ordered his ships hauled out of the water, dragged over wooden rollers across the hills, and launched back into the Golden Horn behind the chain. When the people of Constantinople awoke to see Ottoman sails inside their last refuge, their miracle had run out. Inside the city, starvation tightened its grip. Bread turned to dust, rations dwindled, and whispers spread of the end drawing near. Yet still, the people endured, fighting, praying, hoping against hope that somehow the Queen of Cities would survive. But Mehmed's siege was relentless, and the walls of Constantinople could not hold forever. And so, Constantinople was no more. Mehmed the Conqueror entered the fallen city and claimed it as his new capital. From that day forward, it would be known as Istanbul, the heart of the Ottoman Empire, for centuries to come. But the fall of Constantinople was more than the death of an empire. It was the death of an age. Historians mark May 29th, 1453, as the end of the Middle Ages. The last echo of Rome was gone, and in its place, a new world began to take shape. Greek scholars, fleeing the city, carried with them ancient manuscripts and knowledge that would ignite the Renaissance in the West. Trade routes shifted, explorers searched for new worlds, and the balance of power across Europe and Asia was forever transformed. History doesn't always end with a bang. Sometimes it ends with a whisper, a door left open, a betrayal, a single moment that changes everything. Constantinople's fall did not just destroy an empire. It lit the spark for a new age. But here's the question. As you look at the empires of today, mighty, unshakable, proud, do you believe they are truly stronger? Or will betrayal, ambition, and the cracks within always remain their greatest weakness? Do tell your thoughts in the comments.